Sometimes it helps if I plug the mic in. Sometimes. Yeah, not always. Not always. Let's see. Let's see. Do we want some music? Part of me feels like yes. Part of me feels like yes. I like programming to music. The thing is licensing. So let's let me see if I can't so the other thing that I've always wondered is, do you guys just want to listen to your own music? And so then part of me thinks I shouldn't have music on the stream, because if you want some background music, you can listen to what you want. But then if I listen to music, do you guys want to listen to the same music? Because if, you know, I don't know. Maybe you don't. I'll leave the music off. I'll leave the music off. Good chat. Good chat. Okay. What are you guys wanting to do today? I have some things on my plate. I have some things on my plate that we can do. And yeah, so basically, for my next video, there's one experiment that I need left to do. So we can do that. We can either bust it out at the beginning or towards the end. It's in Rust, so whatever's fine. And then I want to start working on integrating Git into assembly line. And then the other thing to do is we have, what do we have? What do we have? Okay, and so the last thing that we have to do is work on our Twitch bot, which we can get running right now. Ooh, will it run right now? Let's actually check out right now if it would run right now. Thought I fixed that. Oh, it's open here. Okay. Okay. Will it run? Because I've been we've worked on this quite a bit, and we've put in where there's a database. Yeah, basically here. So we'll see if this actually runs. We'll see if this actually runs. Hey, Nighthound, it's good to see you. Good to see you. So basically, what we decided here, what we're going to do, what we're going to try to do, is we're going to start with this, where it's just one application that does everything. But we're going to build it in such a way where these things right here, the AI APIs, the Squirrel and everything here, the Twitch APIs and stuff, are done through interfaces. And then what we're going to try to do is break this into just the Twitch alert interface and make it into this type of architecture. So that way, there's two ways to run it. And yeah, if you'd like to see, let's see if it will run. Let's see if it will run, and if it runs, I'll show you what we're working on. But I'm working on two things simultaneously, so let's check this out. CD code. All right. Does anybody else put all of their code in like a single directory in their home directory? I've been told that I'm a monster for doing this, but like literally everything exists just under this, just as a flat hierarchy of everything. I don't know. That's just how I've always done it. Yeah. So, anyways, so here we go. Let's source this. We have to source that, and then we can cargo run this. Oh, that's right. 1 second. We have a problem here. Where do we have this problem? We have this problem over here. This. Let me clean this up. Oops, that's not how to clean that up. And we will remove that. Okay, so that should make that work. Ooh, okay, cool. So this is some code that we added last time when setting up our database. We set up our migrations here. So basically, it's going to try to run. So we have these migrations. Let's see. When running application, let's see. So migration 7898. Is that? Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this database. I feel like we updated the migrations, and this is our initial one, so it's just basically setting stuff up. So let's see. If you're wanting to follow along, want to set this up, all you have to do is SQLX. You don't have to install SQLX, but it makes it easy. Create. No, it's database create. And then SQL. We don't actually have to run the migrations. Actually, let's just delete the database. I believe we'll create this database if we don't. So let's see if that actually works. We added that logic and then we never tested it. So let's do that. Okay, really interesting. To the fact of like, where is this database? It's not the one that we were looking at. Where is it running it in like the target here? Oh wait. Let's look at it's this connection string, which if we look at ops, we can see what the default is because it's alertdb. So we need to find where this alertdb file is because it's not running in the root. Oh, interesting. It is, but it's putting SQLite on the front of it, which is weird. It's that right there. Let's delete this. We'll delete this DB. That's not what we wanted. And we'll run this. The weird thing is, that's how we normally did. I feel like this is wrong, but we'll try it. This is going to complain because this is at compile time and there's not a database to be seen here. So let's go ahead and run this. So this is the weird part. If you don't have the database, you can't compile, but you don't need it once you have the compiled binary, which is, again, a little bit weird. And now we should be able to run. Or not. It might be that this is actually just has a bad, let's see. Error for unable to open database file. We have alerts DB. Right. Interesting here. That is the correct way to signify. But why? No such table event. Oh, that's what we want. So now it's all looking at the right thing. Okay. I don't know why it was complaining. Event queue doesn't exist because the migrations haven't run. Here's where. Can we build it now? I don't think we can. I think we'll have to manually run the migrations. SQLX. Is it migrations run? Migrate. Migrate run? Yeah, there we go. Now our code should compile. So this is really cool because it is statically checked. So good morning, good Sir Russell. I think it's mostly team your time zone, not my time zone. So Nighthound was just asking what we were working on. Nighthound, this is what we're working on. There is a small chance until we get that other thread in here that this actually fails. But if you'd like to go ahead and unfollow and refollow, you may see it in its glory. While I'm waiting for that. So the other thing that I wanted to do today was assembly line. I was looking up this here. So basically there's this get to thing and implementing sparse checkout. What is sparse checkout for? Basically, we have the dot assembly line folder that needs to be checked in with like the ways to build it. And so we want to, every repository that's set up with us, we want to sparse check out that folder. So I wanted to start working on trying to do that because we need to get, and really the sparse checkout can be in memory. This folder should be very small. We need to get those and save those in the database with it. Ooh, in the world of Python serialization, what format do you think this is? You know, I want to jump on and say that it's just a Python object. That's my answer. What is a Python object? Also, it's Python's YAMLs. It looked exactly like JSON, but I figured it was a trick question. It's not exactly like JSON, but yeah, it has the Python stuff in there. Okay. I am glad you're using freedom units though. That brings joy to my heart. All right. So yeah, I want to do the sparse checkout. One interesting thing here on the server here. Oh, well, one thing is I took out the middleware altogether because I had an epiphany. The middleware is the right way to do your HMAC verification, but I only have one webhook, and guess what? I can just do it inline. So that's what I started to do here. Was literally just do it in line with the webhook of bytes. I am going to. This is pretty garbage right now. So I'm gonna just comment that out. So it will compile for right now. But we can also look at doing the webhook in bytes. Because yeah, I feel like this is just easier for right now, and we are prototyping, so no reason to. So what ended up happening is that The middleware requires you to make your own future, which means you have to implement pull and all of these other things if you want to do something asynchronously. It got way out of control, and like it's not that bad, but it was going to be quite a bit of work. And I wanted to do other things. You use Kelvin. Okay, I respect Kelvin. So actually, real talk here. I don't like Celsius. I really don't like Celsius. Out of all the metric system, I really don't like Celsius. I know that's crazy. I find Celsius to be a weird unit. I understand Kelvin. Kelvin is based off of something very scientific, very easy to use in science. Love Kelvin. Kelvin has one problem: is it makes no sense to humans, and that's fine. It makes no sense to humans. The problem is Celsius tries to do both. It tries to make sense to Kelvin and humans, and it does neither. So, like for me, you usually as humans we use 0 to 10 or 0 to 100 scales. Like, oh, this is 100% awesome, or it's 0% awesome. You know what I mean. You know if I put that 100 mark on your thing, you know what I mean. Um, right. Celsius is fantastic. Fantastic if you're dealing with water. It's absolutely the best thing with water. Really, it is. But for me, when I tell temperature, I want to know two things: is it cold outside or is it hot outside for a human? So, 0, it's pretty cold. 100, it's pretty hot. That is amazing. Like, that idea right there is amazing. And 75 to 50, it's pretty decent. 25 to 50, it's chilly. That makes so much sense on a human scale. Now, it's nothing scientific. If you bring in a scientific argument, Fahrenheit is the wrong thing. Right, but 32 is the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit, but that's what I'm saying. It's not used for scientific things. Don't stop arguing about it as a scientific thing. It's about me as an individual. Do I need to put a hoodie on? If it's below 75, yes, I do. If it's below 50, I need to put a jacket on. If it's below 25, I need to put, like, it makes sense as a human scale. 0 in Fahrenheit is really cold. 100 in Fahrenheit is really hot. It just makes so much sense on a human scale. Again, I'm not arguing science. Never would argue science on it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense on science, and that's not my point. I think that it makes I don't know. I think it makes sense on a human scale. And I could be. I don't think a 0, it's mildly cold, to 100 and you're dead is a very intuitive scale, because that's the Celsius scale. 0, it's not really cold, but it's mildly cold, and 100, you're dead. I don't think that's a great scale. I mean, just as humans make scales, I don't think that's a great scale. Um, you're absolutely right. I am accustomed to it, but I think a 0 to 100 scale is a very good scale. 0 is really cold, 100 is really hot. Both of those extremes are when, it's actually very, very, you have to be careful going outside at 0 or 100, because it is hot enough or cold enough to be, dangerous. I guess, on 0 on the Celsius scale, like, it's cold, and 100, you're just dead unless you have a spacesuit on. Um, Right. Who makes a 0 to 30 scale? Like, how? When have you said, on a scale of 0 to 30, what's your pleasure? It's a 1 to 10 or 1 to 100. And I mean, a 1 to 10 is just a 1 to 100. I mean, like, it's just the it just like kilometers versus meters. Like, a 1 to 10, but no one except for Celsius makes a 1 to 30 scale. That just doesn't make any sense. No one does that. This was not about inches, miles, and yards. Let me and feet. I really hate feet, but this was not about that. Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear. I at the very beginning said Celsius was something I didn't understand. Unless I will acquiesce, unless you are doing something heavily with water. Even then, I think the Kelvin calculations are easier from like a scientific standpoint. But uh, yes, you had units F, so I did say freedom units. I apologize. I don't hate inches. Uh, Feet are the worst. Feet and yards. Actually, I watched a interesting math documentary on how, like, so everybody's like, why are feet and yards like random? Like, there's 3 feet in a yard or 12 inches in a foot, and why that came to be. Not This is not me defending that. Why that came to be, but why it came to be that way is actually a really interesting story on oh, what is it when you like map out property boundaries? Anyways, it came around for train again when these people were going through the West, mapping out trains where the train lines owned and stuff. It actually has an interesting mathematical story behind why that was actually really useful for them. Surveying, thank you, for surveyors. So anyways, I didn't realize that. Again, not defending it. It just does actually, and I don't actually remember what it was. It will come to me. But there's actually an interesting reason why that came to be. You have to understand surveying, which I don't. All right, another thing that I'm gonna have to do is we're gonna have to be Octocat here. Was one thing that wasn't thinking about, and the reason we're gonna have to Octocat it out is because does this mean that we get rid of our webhook altogether? I know that we worked to make this stupid webhook, but do we get events through? Do we get events through being an app itself, anyhow? So that's interesting. That is very interesting. If we get events through the library, so I'm gonna have like be authenticated to pull do Git operations anyhow. So I think I have to be an app because, like I said, I have to pull the dot assembly line. Have I changed my known hosts? Yes, I have. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. For anybody that doesn't know, um, GitHub leaked their keys, their TLS. Now they also revoked them, so you should be fine. But it's best to just nuke your known hosts. That's what I did. Um, this is actually in the news for tomorrow, but I mean, it is kind of pressing. Actually, let me post this in the Discord really quickly. I need to get better about some of those things. About actually. So I am actually also. Actually, I didn't actually even read this all the way. I don't use the RSA SSH anymore. I use ED 25519 because I'm a cool kid. Yep. Anyways, they put it in a repo or something. I love how they don't. I love how they don't mention that in here. I love how it's just at this out of abundance of caution. Abundance of caution out of why? Wait. Yeah, they don't say, well, we posted it to a public Git repository. uh, I don't know their hashing speeds. I just know that all the cool kids are using the ED 25519 key. So I couldn't tell you. It's supposed to be better. Everybody recommends you go to it. I should probably know more about it, but I don't. So I was just now thinking about this. This is going to get a little bit more complicated. So if we have to be an app, comparison with OctoCrab. OctoCrab is the closest competitor in the Rest ecosystem to OctoCat. There are, however, some major differences between the two. Let's go over them. OctoCrab is an API client, where OctoCat can serve as multiple things, including an API client and event listener. All right, let's. I mean, the documentation here is very, very. Does it not let me listen for events? Because then we could do webhooks and this if this is more mature. Basically, what I'm trying to figure out here is with assembly line right now, we get events. So we have GitHub over here. Oh dear, that is brutal. Oh, that's the text. One second. We'll fix this. Sorry. All right, we have GitHub over here, and we're getting events from them via webhook over here, and then let's see. In assembly line, what we need to do with those is basically we need to be able to pull, do a sparse checkout, a git sparse checkout on the Git repo. So because this Git repo has or if it's set up with assembly line, it's going to have a .assembly line folder with, you know, some workflows. So it's going to have something like that. And then what we want to do is take this and put it in the database. All right. So the only thing that, so right now we get all of these events via webhook. And that's working. You and Wordle. You give me nightmares about Wordle. For all of those that don't know, he made me figure out a Wordle live on stream with raw code to unlock our machine. Oh, yes. How people describe fun. All right. So we have this right now, and we do this through a webhook. We just set up a webhook. Now, I think we have to eventually set this webhook up ourselves. But what I was seeing is basically OctoCat RS here says that it does event handling itself, which is kind of nice because then we wouldn't have to set up a separate webhook listener to do it. But it seems to be much less. Where's its Git repo? I want its Git repo. Here's its repository. Seems to be much less mature than OctoCrab. Now, OctoCat is like the official supported one. Let's see, what version do they have here from GitHub? This is what worries me about this. It seems nice, but let's see, how active does it look to be? I do remember that it was rbash in the end. It took us a little while to get to the fact that it was rbash, but one second, this does not look to be super active. So maybe we won't use OctoCat RS and we'll go with OctoCrab. Looks much more active. So the only thing that I am missing from this is events, but that's not actually that big of a deal if we're talking about events is not a big deal if we're talking that we already have a webhook. We already did all that work. Now, what we might be able to do here is if they have, if they have some of the types, we might be able to borrow those, because one of the things I have as a ticket is somebody needs to go through and make all the types, but I didn't want to do that. Hmm. So we might borrow this. Their models. I might even just like be a copy and paste job here, because we can own this stuff from moving forward. This will be nice. Actually, we'll just try to import it and just use their types. We'll try that. We'll use their types, but we'll use this system. That might that might be messy. We'll see if we can get it to work. And they don't do any events. So if we use this instead of this, we'll have to do all of our own events, whereas this allows us to do events. Maybe we should use this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we use the new project? But it looks like GitHub sponsors this because it's in the AutoCAD RS, but it doesn't look to be super active. So I'm a little worried about that. Right. It doesn't matter. We'll move on. And then sparse checkout. Does everybody know what sparse checkout is? Okay, I'll just try AutoCAD RS. We'll see how good it is. Probably good enough for us. If people don't know what sparse checkout is, I pulled this up so you guys can know. What sparse checkout does is basically allows you, and a lot of people use this as a backbone for as a backbone for things like a mono repo, and basically you don't have to check out the whole repo. Now that's fine, but if you're doing that, in my mind, why not make a different repo? But that's what it is. Now what we're going to do again is we only want one directory out of the repo. One thing that we are going to do in our code here is we're going to add, just like this .github, we're going to add a not in there. We're going to add a .assembly line. And this is where our folders or our workflows are going to be. There we go. We'll give this a version. I don't know if our template, I mean, obviously you should version everything in theory. But I think that will be all that we have. We actually have an example. Let's pull that example in here. Let's see, config. Actually, I'm not even sure we versioned this. Maybe we need to update that. Yeah, I feel like version feels weird. We'll delete it for right now. But it would allow us to change versions, for better or for worse. All right. This is the workflow that we need to pull in. And we will have to commit this before we can actually try to pull it. All right. So we have Sparks checkout. Let's get this going. Octocat. Let's see. Beginner's documentation. The first and most common is a webhook event listener. This is literally what I did. Essentially, the event listener passes payloads to the user, who then responds with a command that can either contain nothing or number. So actually, I feel like the thing is we do both. We use this to do the webhook event listener, and we use this to do the commands, because like this actually wraps the API nicely. It might be that we use both. Okay. Is this in stable now? Is this in stable? No. All right, so I guess we'll have to go to Nightly. I don't love this, but we'll do it. All right. We have a project. All right, this is what we need. I think we already have the other two. Maybe we don't have async trait. We'll see. Oh, I did this in the wrong project anyhow. I need to get rid of. Let's close this. Let's delete this first. Move to trash. Let's close this project. Let's move this one to where it's supposed to be. And there we go. Let's see. All right. Now we can go back to here. We need this for the server. Yeah, just the server. And this is. Oh, they don't have like a released version. That's kind of a bummer. That's fine. Wrong language. All right. Let's see. And we needed async trait. I don't think that you can do that though, Russell. And that, how would that even work for compiling it in? Would that work? I mean, I agree that it would be nice that if you could do that, where you could just specify this dependency uses nightly, or each dependency could specify. But when you're compiling them all to one, I don't think that would work. And this is probably going to break stuff, but we'll see. It does sound nice. I agree. All right. And then I think we will actually probably set this up as well and try to use both, which will be a little weird, but let's see. Fundamental concepts. This is nice. Understanding the event handler trait you must implement if you intend to use the event listener portion of the AutoCAD in any meaningful way. Let's break down what you need to know. The messages. Yep. GitHub client. In 99%, this type should be set equal to client self. Client self is a default value. You shouldn't have to override that unless you're writing your own custom GitHub client implementation. It's supported on all platforms. Nice. Your webhook secret. Oh, look at this. Look at this. How much do you want to bet that if I go through their code, where's their Git? They should have their Git repository up here. Watch this. HMac. Boom. Knew it. This is what I was gonna do. Cool. I actually want to see how they did it really quickly. It depends on like what they're doing. Doing an HMac isn't that difficult. What I was finding difficult was just doing the middleware. Wait. So I believe they're just doing it straight in the request. So this is what I was going to do instead of making the middleware. I was going to eventually make the middleware, but it could in theory work, as it all needs to go down into assembly at the end. So whatever the compiler is doing, it at some point needs to convert it to a universal runnable code. Yes. Is it though? Okay, and like I don't know. I've never written my own language. I've never written a language compiler. That's maybe 2025. 2026 is more probable that we'll get into that. But what I'm wondering here in this is when we make this application like assembly line, all of the code that we link in, all of this code here, is interlinked. And if we are compiling with different compilers, you'd have to make it where the compilers can talk like you'd have to have like a version skew that the compilers could talk to each other and make things that worked together, I think. Yeah, I think it would be very difficult. I'm obviously not impossible. I think most things are possible. It's just how much work would it be? Okay. Back to this. Let's open up their examples. I think their Cloudflare one is the one that they were saying is all right. Let's see. This is used to represent the type of GitHub client. So you could do it like you support C libraries is what you're talking about. But that usually is like unsafe code a lot of the time. Although we do it safely in Legion. No, we wrap that in unsafe, right? Because we dynamically load the libraries. It's safe though. I mean, it just will fail to load the library if it doesn't meet the features. So it's safe. You could do that, right? Yeah. That would be less convenient though, I think. I wonder if that would have performance impacts as well. So let's see. They have example event here. They have this. I wish they wouldn't do this. I don't know exactly what they're doing. They're making a trait here. They're making some functions. Unsupported. Okay. Here's here's the actual concrete type, so it's just a fake type. Where do they? Okay, this is the client builder. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this. This doesn't look too bad. I do want. They haven't talked about how they do authentication. How does this app authenticate? There's a GitHub client, but what do I give it? We'll find out. We'll do that. Okay, question. Do I start a new project and try this instead of implementing it in? No. We can do it here. Easy enough. We're just going to do it here in main before our webhook. So I think with this, we can get rid of the webhook. That's the idea. Well, I think it's creating its own webhook, but the idea is hopefully it has permissions to then create the webhook for you. The weird part was they were talking about the shared secret, which made it seem like you'd have to set the webhook up yourself first. And maybe that's the case, but as an application, it should be able to create that webhook, which maybe we can do ourselves. So maybe it doesn't do everything, but that's fine. Okay, we're just going to copy this into a thing. We're going to copy this into GitHub, and we're going to do new file, and we're going to do we'll just do events for right now. Looks groovy. Do they not give us any import data? Because like this needs imported for sure, right? The Rust analyzer is very upset. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, we have dependency problems. Uh-oh. Fly check failed. Oh boy. Oh boy. The watchers failed, and nobody's watching the watchers, so we've got problems. No, but wait. This error. Previously selected package, which satisfies dependency. Oh, okay. So Octocat RS is using this error, but maybe a different version. Let's go look at that. Let's see. Not their lock file. I want to just look at their TOML. Dang it. Octocat RS. All right. So then we have something that's also bringing in this error. I don't directly get it, I don't think. Let's see. No, I don't. All right, so we're wanting 139 or 140, and we have 138. Oh, wait. This is saying that Octocat RS wants 139. And so there's two that satisfy that. All possible version conflicts with previously selected package. What is previously selecting the package? Because then it goes back to talk about Octocat RS. It looks like Octocat RS is conflicting with itself. Am I reading this wrong? This seems like, because this up here is talking about GitHub REST. GitHub RS. Oh. Oh, okay. I see. I understand now. They have 138 in their dependency. 1038. 1038. And so that's the problem, is that there's these two. Was 1 second. Let's check this out. Was 138 1038 pulled? Is that what happened here? Doesn't look like it. Can I just pin it in here? Can I just say this error? One dot 38. Now, I don't know. My fear here, yeah, so it failed again. And my fear is that something else is depending on this error. And there's a cargo command for this. So let's try that. I don't remember it. So let's give that a shot and see if we can't figure out what that is. This would be assembly line. So cargo, what is it? I don't know. Let's see if it's here. Let's just do check. Well, let's do clean. Cargo clean. Make sure it's not something transient. And then cargo check. All right. To fail to select the version for this error, required package GitHub REST, which satisfies dependency REST, Octo. All possible versions conflict with the selected. Why does it think that these two are the only possible versions? It doesn't give us an idea that there's any other. But for some reason, 138 isn't okay. Can I pass something more to check here? I do feel like there is more here to type. We could do verbose. I don't think that's what we want. Question, can we do this? Can we pin this to 139 and override what our AutoCAD RS is giving us? Now, I did do a clean, so this is going to have to compile everything, but maybe this is what we need to do. Now, I watched a video that one of you recommended, and I need to rewatch it. This guy actually debugs all this and tells you how to be a good neighbor. I think we just fixed it. Is cargo... let's see. Reloading. It seems to be good. Okay. Now, what I'm wondering is it doesn't seem like we have a conflict with another package. What it seems like is either the version of Rust that was using is incompatible with the older ones. I wish it told us a little bit more there. I'm going to have to dig a little bit more into that, but we're back. We're back. All right. I don't know why I closed that repo, but I did. Okay. All right. Let's see. We are. Wait. Did we copy the code in? Did we get it in? We did. We got our handler in here. The thing that I was going to say is they didn't actually give us imports for this, so I feel like this should be failing. Because their code didn't have any imports. So let's actually jump over to their example folder, find out what their imports are, because this should fail, right? Although it's not failing, which is a little bit... Oh, I know why. It's not actually part of the project yet. There, now it will start failing. There we go. Let's see if it will find it. Sweet, it does. So we can just go ahead and import these. It's... No. So it says there's a quick fix, but it's not. Maybe saving it. Yep, we have an async trait. No quick fixes. What is the problem with this? This is not a part of event handler. Okay. Let me. There we go. Okay. Well, we'll have to. Let's look at what event handler does have. Route, listener secret, message, app authorization event. So this is going to have how we do auth. Cool. Installation, push event. What event were we listening to? Commit event. Actually, I should just search for it. I guess it doesn't exist though. I feel like Rust wouldn't lie to me. So there is no event commit event. Did they just delete it? Or is their documentation wrong? I'm wondering if it's just named a little bit differently. Let's look for commit. Here we go. Status event, status of a git commit changed. Commits. I'm wondering if it's just a status event now. Like on a new commit, you'll get a new status. Maybe they combine those because that's what it looks like here. This is a comment added to a commit. Status of a git commit change. So I feel like it's a status event. I'm guessing, but I'm just going off of there. That's not correct. So we're going to try this one. Interesting. They had this push event. Is that a thing over here? Push event? Yeah. Under push event, there is a push event. Let's see what there's a fork event. We really want push or PR. Is there a PR event? Let's see. There's a repository event. A fork event deploy. Star event, team add event, watch event. Oh, so it could just be this. Instead of a commit event, it's a push event. Okay. We're gonna go with this one because the example is all set up for this. It already has that. It's just the wrong function name. Okay. Let's fix our imports really quickly. We'll need to import arc. Not what I meant to do. Let's see. I think it's the Octocat command that we're looking to import. There we go. And now we fix this up. Okay, beautiful. Now we should be getting push events, but we need to actually authenticate here. This, I don't think that this will work because I don't think we'll be authenticated. Like, how does it even know which repository or which organization to look for? So let's go on to their next thing, which talks about builders. I know that this is a builder here, so I'm hoping that they'll talk about the client builders. All right, the builder trait. Okay, so this is fine. I mean, I think this is like the general builder pattern. I guess this is actually kind of curry. I didn't realize this. This is the guy that like 1 second. Let's look it up. Software currying. Yeah. We call it the builder pattern. I call it currying. Currying is a technique for translating the evaluation of a function that takes multiple arguments into evaluating a sequence of functions, each with a single argument. For example, currying a function f that takes 3 arguments creates a nested unary function. So basically, instead of a function that takes 3 events, basically you make your functions. So a lot of the times how this happens is the function returns a mutable reference to itself. And And so you can like keep going over it. Builder pattern currying. I like to call it currying because it's more esoteric and nobody knows what you're talking about when you call it that. It also makes me hungry. All right. This is fine. All right. So it doesn't tell you how to authenticate. So we're gonna have to look at their examples to figure out how to authenticate. Let's see. AutoCAD RS. Some examples. There was a Cloudflare worker one here. It's also known as Fluent API. Yes. All right. I don't get how this is authing here. Oh, this is. Wait a second. Wait a second. Did I misunderstand this? Oh, gosh. This is the Oh. Oh. Oh, this is for the Rust Wasm. Okay. I haven't done a whole lot of Rust Wasm. Okay, so that doesn't look really helpful, honestly. I don't understand how. I think basically this doesn't authenticate at all. It's just listening to a webhook, so it should be fine because we'll just set up our webhook the same way we did last time. Okay, let's just do that. We'll do the client builder on our main. Expect struct variant. It's a. Oh wait. Did we import the wrong thing? We might have. Yeah. We imported Actic Web. What we really need to do is we'll just fully qualify this. So we'll do GitHub events handler, which isn't public. I didn't make it public, so. There we go. Client builder, we'll need to import. But yes, we will all refer to it as currying from now on. It's mandated. All right, what do you... Wait, why did you all of a sudden... Oh. I've never actually dealt with this. I don't think that's acceptable, though. Wait, can we just do a public impl? But impl... No, that's... Okay, so... Oh, okay, we can just update it here because I was thinking this is something that they were owning, but that's why we're leaking it, because this wasn't public. Okay, you got it. I thought message was their type, but it was actually our type with stuff. Okay. So that's easy enough to fix. Now I guess we can just run this. All right. I don't know where we're going to listen. I guess. Where are we going to listen? Does 2022. They did it the year they made the project. Cool beans. All right, 2022. So now we need to ngrok this, get this going. Cone of silence really quickly while I ngrok. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I totally leaked my key last time. I GitHub my key. Yes, I did. I straight up. Yes, we need to start calling it GitHubbing it. Oh. All right. So now we can update GitHub to point to the right place. So we'll go to GitHub. We'll go to assembly line. I actually have the whole project set up to with this. Here we're gonna go. Two-factor authentication. I need to actually get this set up with my security key because it would make this better anyhow. This workflow. All right, and our new ngrok is that. Update webhook. Done. Now the cool thing is that I found out is we don't have to go through and just like make random stuff. We can actually go and find one of the failed ones. So here's a push event. I think that's what we're listening to now, right? We're looking push events. So let's get our code running. Get cargo run. All right. And now we're just going to redeliver this one. Using the current, yeah. And that failed. Wait. Interesting. Oh, I did. There, we're going to update again. So there's no secret. I did put a secret on there because I was testing some stuff. Let's redeliver this again. Now, why I call this interesting is there's something I just noticed. We delivered to this v1 GitHub webhook, which is not running. So what I think we actually need to do is deliver to just the base. Because we've made that path, but I think that this library is going to do its own thing. And maybe it just handles it all on its base route. So let's try that. That also failed. 404. Are we getting that? Let's check our in-log. Yeah. So it is getting to us. It's just, this is not, This is not working quite as well as I was hoping. Let's see. I was kind of hoping this would just kind of work. All right, let's go back to their examples. It is getting to us. Oh, it's /payload by default. My bad. I didn't read the documentation well enough. Okay. So we need to just go to, there we go. And now we'll redeliver. Redelivery failed. 503. This is new. Okay. No refer. Refer policy. This is an ngrok error code. Wait. This says it's 8080 by default. But didn't they say it was 20? Okay, well, this could be me. I set ngrok to go to 2022 because that's what I thought it was. So let's cancel that and go to 8080. I could have been high. I thought I saw something that said that so then we're back to 40. Yeah, it's not 8080. It is 2022. Oh. 1 second. I screwed this up. We'll try 8080 again. But every time you run ngrok, you have to update the actual path. And if you hit Control C, you're going to accidentally end that. So, quick question for you all here. Would you guys prefer that I played... so I was thinking about listening to music, and I can find some that I'm allowed to play on stream. Would you guys prefer that I did that, or that you guys could listen to your own music, which is what I was thinking, and I could put on some of my own music and just listen to it myself? I don't know what is the best way to do that, so I thought I'd ask. So we're back to the 502. All right, here's a little bit, some good old static HTML. I just need to know. My gosh. No. I want like the body. Where's the body? Here we go. I don't know that this is that helpful. Interesting though. Was this yeah, it was a bad gateway. Wait, I am still running, yes. Yeah. Failed to parse JSON. Missing field network count. Okay. Let's see. It's part of the repository here. This should just be an optional. I wrapped a lot of the stuff in optional. Twitch doesn't support multiple audio channels. So I can do multiple audio channels here though. So I can like just stream specific stuff to Twitch and specific stuff not go to Twitch. It would be nice though if Twitch allowed you, like if I sent 2 audio channels and you could be like, I don't want the music. That would be fantastic. Yeah. So their types are wrong. Not what I meant to do. Do I pull the code in so I can make the quick and easy change to make this optional? Like, I just need to wrap this in an optional. I don't know if that's quick and easy. I mean, I could even, like, wrap this in optional. I think part of me wants to pull their code in because it seems nice. If you look at what we were about to do anyways, I had this data and I was doing this already. I only had a little bit of the stuff, but like I was already starting to do this. So part of me feels like maybe just pull their code. What is their code license says? Does it not? It does. BSD 4 clause. Okay, I don't want that. So never mind. This is a gross. This is gross because it's like, yeah, I don't think I can use this anyways. If somebody makes something with assembly line, I don't want them to have to also include a thing that says, ugh. All right, let's move on to OctoCrab. I generally get annoyed with this. I don't like PubCrate. It's probably good. I actually want to go back there. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Well, we successfully used this. That's good to know. I don't think that this is supported well enough. I don't think that there's enough active. We either need to pull it in and just consume it, but I also don't want to do that because of their license. When it would be me maintaining the majority of the code anyhow, and making it work. So I think we'll just do this and build out the structures ourselves, which I'll do sometime myself, probably. I might do that on stream. It might be a relaxing, just building the structures from the data that we get back. I already saved these here, so like we can just sit here and go through it. I might do that on stream, but I'm also going to then work on OctoCrab just to get how I'm going to get it integrated as well this weekend to start using it. And then next weekend, hopefully we can do the get sparse checkout. So throughout this week, I'm going to try to get all working because this also has auth stuff for GitHub apps. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to auth to then start using git sparse checkout. I do have was looking at like git2 to see how I could do that. So yeah, we can do like clone in here, but I don't know how to do auth with it and do it in memory and stuff. So anyways, I'll figure some of those things out. So hopefully next Saturday we can have a stream where all we're doing is rusty checkout git things. I think for today, I'm gonna say this was good enough, and I'm going to move on to the Twitch bot a little bit. If you guys, so I've been having an inner turmoil. I've had a little bit of an inner turmoil. I don't know why I closed it to just reopen it. About how this should be architected, but I think I have a good way. I think via arguing with myself as well as the community, this is what we've come up with. Not this. We're going to delete this. There we go. Okay. So we're going to start this way. Why this is in orange is because I need your guys' help with this. Paste in your JSON. Oh. Oh. What? What? One thing, I closed it. Give me just 1 second. I'll open that back up. Now, this will give us a good starting point. It's actually awesome. So it can all actually change. If you actually look at this, let me fold these really quickly. So these are actually really similar, but that will do 90% of the work. So you can see here, this is a pull request and this is a check run. Everything else is equal about this, so we'll just copy and paste these in. This is pretty well. I'm done with my types. I'm gonna split them out. So I differ from the community, and I actually dislike this about Rust. And I think it's actually good. The more you use a language, if somebody tells me that everything is awesome about a language, it means that they don't really use it a ton. And one of the things that actually annoys me is I like to have everything in these files where it's like let me show you really quickly. These are the different things. This is a pull request. This represents a pull request. And I hate that these have to be a different they have to be a different module. I really don't like that they're a different module. I wish that they could be imported as the same module, and I actually really dislike this part of it. I like the modules in general. This part does annoy me because it makes me have to create my modules based off of my files. I would have much rather modules been directories, in my opinion. That's one thing I would change. I know that's probably pretty controversial, and like I said, I love Rust. But I think whenever you learn a language and you learn it really well, you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I would probably change that. Not saying I'm going to create a new language because of it. I would change that, especially because how I like to work. I wish these were all part of the same module, which is like the GitHub events module. Rust would make me make them all in the same folder or file. Right. Exactly what Russell's saying. We're going to make that a shirt for the community. All programming languages are bad. It's just Java is the worst. Yep. Effectively, that's what I was saying. It does kind of annoy me just because they force me to either have a really big file, like I don't know. this will probably be 1,000 lines when it's all said and done, or a bunch of modules. And I don't know, maybe for this just very flat types, maybe I'll just put them all in one file. Maybe I will break my thing with this. Just since it's super flat types, like we're not putting any methods on them. Usually, like you have methods and stuff, and like it gets messy if you have more than one, and I don't like it from a organizational standpoint. Maybe I will break it for this. But again, like I don't like being forced to make that decision. But again, I like Rust. I like Rust. I think it's important to. Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm gonna actually just do this really quickly. Events.rs, and I'm gonna dump this in there because this is a great starting point. Beautiful. Very beautiful. It already does the. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Awesome. All right, we can close this now. All right. So what I was saying over here, though, is that where did my too many tabs open? IntelliDraw right there. All right. All right. So one, Russell, I need help from you because you know the community better. This I need help with, but we'll talk about it in just a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to build it as a single app. But what we're going to do is we're going to interface these things out, so that basically the hope and goal is to get to a point where this works. You can just run it as a binary, run it locally, and it just works. And then instead of doing it like this, if these are all interfaced out appropriately, you can switch them out for like a Kafka producer. So then this become the Twitch alerts module just becomes purely a Twitch listener that produces Kafka topics. And then, you know, this AI API is just purely a Kafka processor that or consumer that consumes those events. And yeah, so we're going to see if we can build that out in a really nice way so that you can run it both ways, because I feel like this is nice for that solo streamer that wants to run it themselves and wants to modify it and wants to understand it just a little bit and whatnot. And then for the null cloud to run on the null cloud, I think this is really nice. This consumer and producer is going to let me do multi-tenancy really well. So if other people want to use it and sign up and use the chatbot, I think this is like the way to go. So we're gonna focus on doing it this way first, and then we can do it this way second, but hopefully using majority of the same code. Now, where this comes in is I have no idea how to do this in a single binary. This OBS UI has to be a web page. So I have to serve a web page through this. And there's some projects, I get it. There's some projects that we could use to do this, like eGUI. But it has to be reactive to this. And I think maybe eGUI is the best way, but eGUI almost seems to run it as a web app itself, which maybe is fine when running in this way. Is that what you would do, Russell? Yes, Russell. Basically, this would be a monolith with seams, and this would be the seams wrapped, basically. I actually I have a video that I was gonna make this in Go, and I might make it in Go as well, or at least give a Go example. But I've always tried to tell people that you can make a monolith in a way that it's easier to break apart if your team scales eventually. And I kind of thought that this would be a really great example if I make something that's actually has two completely different deployment models, a monolith, and obviously this will mean extra work. I'm going to focus on this one, making sure this one's solid, and then we can, work on this one as well. I'm hoping we can get it into a place with Rust and like Rust workspaces where literally it's just how you build the components, which would be pretty cool, I think. How you build the modules, basically. I think that would be pretty ridiculously awesome, honestly. And I thought that would lead into making a pretty good video on, hey, how can we make a monolith, but also design it in a way with some forethought that this wouldn't be too hard to break into something, with seams. Okay, but yes, how would you do this UI? Because it has to be a reactive UI. Now, I know how I could do it with like webhooks and Next.js and Tailwind. No, they're capturing a web page. You have to give them a URL. It's a web page. So basically, how it works is you give a web source and you put a URL, and that URL has a green screen, and it puts something on top of that green screen whenever there's an event. So like if you go, I don't have, I think Streamlabs does it. I don't have their desktop thing. But if you do alert boxes, it's just a URL. Why can't it use a desktop source? Well, it could. It could. It could. Now, it can't if we want to provide it as a service. Over here, it has to be a web, because everybody else that uses it won't have a desktop app. But you're right here, I suppose it could be a desktop. Because in this we have, yeah, I think you're right. Here, it has to be a web UI. I'll draw this over here as a thing that it has to be. Let's see. I also somehow, because that's how people would consume it. But you're right, when running standalone, this could be a desktop UI. Yeah, because I'm looking over here and I can add a source here. This might screw with the stream. I can add a source, and let's see, there's a video capture and a window capture. So you could literally set it to window capture. So you're not capturing a whole screen. So there's a video, which is a playable video, a media source, and a display capture. Display capture captures the whole screen. That's kind of what we're using here. But we could just do a window capture. Would you prefer to share the code? What do you mean by that? Wait a second. It's right here. Don't look. 1 second. Cone of silence. Like I said, it's right here. The code's right here. Do you want to share one UI rather than write a desktop app and a web version? Well, that's what I was thinking. Which means that our other one has to be this has to be a web. I don't know. I don't know. I think that they're going to be separate UIs anyways, right? Because Tari. Okay. Let's look at that. Rust-based Electron. That might be the UIs are going to be slightly different no matter what. And the reason I say that is, you know, as a service, they're going to have a place where they can do some minor configuration. Not as a service, I feel like it could just be different. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So I think I say all that. I think it would be great if they could at least share some of their code, but I don't know that they're necessarily going to be able to be the exact same. Now, there's like the how to configure and sign up, which is all going to be null cloud. But then like the actual displaying of the thing should probably be the same stuff because all it is displaying it. Yeah. In this version, when we're hosting it here, where this web UI comes from is probably not this thing here. We might be able to wrap that thing and expose it, but then that thing just has to consume Kafka message. We'll have to think about that. I'm not too worried about that. Worst case, we have two separate UIs. That's worst case. I don't think we'll have to do that though. I don't think so. Hopefully not. At least we should be able to share some common stuff. I'll look up this though. I already looked it up. I will read about this some. This looks good though. Awesome. I knew that you would. How often does OBS pull the website? So I don't. I mean, it's just a web page. I think like it's up to your front end to either have a WebSocket or pull the back end, right? Because if all you're doing is typing in a URL, it's up to that front end to do the things, right? It's not OBS pulling it. OBS is just providing a browser plugin. So it would be how often does your front end pull the web back end? So we could to do that, we could either do long pulling or a WebSocket to the back end. Right? Yes. Yes. When you do the I am not set up to share this, but when you do a browser source, and you click to add a new browser, so I think maybe you can see this now. It gives you a URL and a width and a height. So this is my browser, and I can really literally set this to anything. We can set this URL to google.com. It's just a web browser. I think we can set it to google.com. There we go. It's just a set it to my stream. Let's see. There we go. This is probably a bad idea on so many levels. It's not a fast browser source, and it's probably going to cause my stream to lag. Oh. And I'm gonna get banned for like auto boosting my viewer count. My
Oh, it's playing the
stream
sound.
to lag.
That's horrifying.
And I'm gonna get banned for like auto boosting my viewer count. All right, one second. I gotta delete this.
Oh, it's playing the
Stream
sound.
to lag.
That's horrifying.
All right, that was a horrible idea. But you are not wrong. Anyway, so it literally just gives you a browser and it doesn't display a background. I don't think you have to green screen it. Yeah, it seems reasonably performant. Yeah. So one of the things we haven't talked about is exactly like what files we're going to support for, like obviously an image or a GIF should be supported. Could they do custom CSS? I think so. Eventually, like they should be able to do whatever they want in that, but we'll have to support actually having an application that can display that. Yeah. Yeah, it should be fairly easy. Basically, there should be nothing, and if there's something, then you just display it. Now, again, do we want to do webhooks or do we want to pull? I don't know. I don't know exactly how we want to do that to hit the back end. I think pulling is easier, to be honest. We can pull every 5 seconds and it's fine. Or really, honestly, we can pull every 15 seconds and it's also fine. Especially because if we pull 15 and like there's 10, we're just going to put them in a queue and work over the queue. Every 5 seconds we display a new alert, or however long it takes to run the animation. So it's really not. The UI should be pretty simple. It should be pretty simple. I think also polling is easier in a lot of regards when we get to here. If we make this need a webhook to the back end, webhooks in Kubernetes are not the easiest thing to do. Not impossible, but there's reasons that there's projects out there that do webhooks for you. Because like, how do you, if we have like 6 of these, let's say there's 6 people that are using it, and there's like 5, and there's 2 pods on the back end. Which one is this one connected to? And so then you have to put in some sort of message queue, which we can actually solve with Kafka. It's just a bit more work. And so I think if we can get away with it, I'd much rather pull than I would webhook. It's almost like HTTP6, like HTTP6, IPv6, IPv6. It's almost like IPv6 where it's like it solves so many good problems, but IPv4 is so much easier, so we just use that. In Kubernetes isn't the easiest thing to do. Are you just saying, is that like a glob search there? Are you just saying just about everything? What I meant is if you're doing a microservice architecture, it's not the easiest thing to do. If you have a monolith, WebSockets aren't that hard because the server that. Let me explain it. This isn't actually a Kubernetes problem. This is a web, and this is why I say microservices have a developer problem, is because if you look at this as this, and just imagine there's a few of these out there, and we have the backend back here. Now, the real problem comes in here. You want to send a message to this one, WebUI, 4. Which backend do you send the message to get it to WebUI 4? And the thing is, it's this one, but there could be hundreds of these. But so for me, this is not a Kubernetes problem. This is a microservice problem. This is a stateless problem. I do also agree that Kubernetes makes things hard. That's why it was so important to me to be able to do this. I didn't want people that thought that this was cool, but didn't want to, wanted to host it themselves. Like, I don't know if anybody will want to use this as a service, and I don't know that if anybody will want to run it locally, but I didn't want the run locally to start with first install kind or Kubernetes or whatever. I didn't want that because it makes everything harder. I agree. But what makes microservices hard, or what makes this hard, is the fact that we have these stateless microservices back here. Kubernetes, I don't know. In this instance, I don't think Kubernetes makes this problem better or worse. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kubernetes makes it harder. I hope that people also understand that I love Kubernetes. I think that there's a lot of people that shouldn't use Kubernetes, and that's the whole reason I want to show that you can actually design something in a way that you could break it out in the future. Now, this we're designing in a way that it can be broken out simultaneously, which is probably going to be actually harder than what I mean. But I just mean designing in a way where you take the easy case and then you have a method to your madness that gets you to a place where, okay, we're really scaling our teams. We want to have four small teams, and we want to do microservices. Boom, you can do it. I also love Kubernetes. I honestly don't think Kubernetes makes things harder. I think microservices do. And Kubernetes is a generic tool to solve that problem. There are some ways to do it, like Lambdas, some other ways. I'm not sure that those actually make things simpler either, but there are some other ways to try to solve the microservice issue. But don't make a video on it. People like their microservices. Let me warn you, if you make a video called Kubernetes is not the problem, and point a finger at microservices, that is not the way to YouTube. I thought it was going to be spicy and get some people talking. The people that hit the thumbs down don't actually talk, unfortunately. I'd love a conversation on it, but anyways. All right. I think I'm done for today. It's almost noon. I got to go get my kids fed. I also love Kubernetes for the people that think I don't like it. My whole architecture, my whole backend is based on Kubernetes here. Yeah, whatever. Actually, that brings me to a good point. My maintenance of the null cloud is almost done, so it should be back up and running, which is cool. I got some UPSs in there. I've updated the BIOS to run Linux a little bit better of those the things that I have in there. So I did some nice little touches to everything, and yeah. Anyways, I will let you get going. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow with some news. I actually have a pretty awesome lineup of people. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to release. It's going to be pretty awesome. I got people with lots of experience. We're going to do some panels, I think once a month, on giving people advice. So yeah, I got people throughout the industry, from some pretty large companies to some smaller startups. That if you want career advice, we're going to do it in a panel so that we can all talk about our different experience. Because I always fear to give people my advice for career because I'm like, well, it's in my silo. This has worked for me, but that doesn't mean, maybe it's just the companies that I have been at. So this gives a broader reach. So will the OBS UI use Tailwind, or do you want it to be nice to work with? We won't use Tailwind. We won't use Tailwind for a variety of reasons. Yeah, it won't use Tailwind. Now, that being said, the main UI for the Null Cloud I have been using Tailwind with, and I have to say that I like it for one reason. I think 95% of my community will be up in arms. Yeah, at least half of it, my community. You know what? I'm actually screwed no matter what I pick, though, Russell, because half my community will be upset that I didn't use Tailwind, and half my community will be upset that I did use Tailwind. So I'm actually in a no-win situation. I literally can't win no matter what I pick. Half my community is going to be angry. I don't think that for this web UI, Tailwind is an appropriate thing. For easily, this one doesn't make sense. This web UI is a super simple, super lightweight thing. It displays some text and an image or something. Like, that's all it does. If you need Tailwind or something like that to do this, you're doing the wrong thing. It should be so lightweight, especially when we build it here. This should be the smallest application possible. And I don't want to bloat it with this. I think that would just be wrong and horrifying. Yeah, to need to have a preprocessor installed, like, there should be nothing that you need with this. Like, if you want to pull this code and dev on it, you should be able to pull it and run it. Tailwind is the wrong solution for this. Now, why I like it on the Null Cloud, and I honestly, I hate it for all the reasons that you hate it, and I still like it for this. I don't do web UI very much. And so when I go in here, and I know that this is bad, I can pull it up on my other monitor, and I can literally type in one file, changing the divs and stuff right here in one file, and have a UI at the same time and see it updating. I do really like that, especially because I don't web dev a lot, so a lot of times I'm just guessing at stuff here and seeing how it changes stuff over there, and not needing to flip between files is fantastic. What I've come down to is that for a large team, I don't think that I would like Tailwind. I've talked to some of our UI developers, and they agree. They like having the components, building component libraries, and having things nicely and separated and having it clean. This they think is great for prototyping, just really rapidly going through stuff and creating a prototype. And for me, it's easy because I suck at I really am bad at front end. So anyways, I don't know. I don't know if I will do. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. I have the supporters list building. So when you subscribe, it doesn't hit a database yet, but I have built it out so that it builds a table that you can click on. Anyways, on the Null Cloud, there's like a supporters page now. I don't know. It's still ugly. I don't know. I'm liking it for what I'm able to do here quickly. I guess. I think all your points are valid, though. And I agree with them. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do a few things that are in Tailwind, and some things that aren't when they make sense. For my main null cloud, I don't think anybody else is going to dev on it. It's open source. If you want to dev on it, you can. It's in Tailwind. Everything else I think won't be. So, you know, I'll go get some beans on toast. Absolutely not. But you think that. Thanks for your time. I will see you guys later.